The Los Angeles Lakers might have just brought in a name that don't generate headlines but could quietly become a key piece for the future of the franchise. According to recent reports, the team held a pre-draft workout with Samson Johnson, a 6'10" center from the University of Connecticut, and that's the kind of move that says a lot without making much noise. Johnson is 22 years old, comes from one of the most structured programs in college basketball, and fits the exact mold the Lakers have favored in recent years, mature players who have gone through multiple seasons of growth, learning under discipline, and understanding the game from a team-first perspective. And when it comes to Johnson, it's all about the physical tools. It's not the guy who's going to drop 30 points on you, but it's got traits that don't come around often. It's a high-level athlete with the kind of mobility that makes scouts pay attention. At 6'10" and around 225 pounds, Johnson brings size, length, and explosiveness. Is known for his ability to run the floor like a wing, contest shots at the rim, and switch defensively in space. Offensively, is still raw, is not the guy you're dumping the ball into on the block, but his motor, vertical leap, and rim running ability make him an intriguing lob threat. He's got a standing reach of 9 feet 1 inch, a wingspan of 7 feet 2.5 inches, and a vertical around 30.5 inches. Those numbers, on paper, scream rim protector and alley-oop finisher. What makes him even more appealing to a team like the Lakers is that he's a project in the best sense of the word. Not a guy who's expected to come in and change the franchise overnight, but someone you can mold, develop, and build into a real contributor over time. That's especially valuable when you're drafting late, like with the 55th pick, where the Lakers currently sit. You're not expecting to land a future all-star there, but if you can get a guy who understands his role, plus hard, defense, rebounds, and finishes at the rim, you've already won. Johnson fits that description. Is the type of player who, if put in the right situation and surrounded by the right coaching staff, can grow into something meaningful. Now, to be clear, is not walking into the Lakers facility and immediately taking over the backup center role. That's not how this works. But we've seen examples of young bigs who, because they understood their role, made an instant impact. Just look at what happened with Derek Lively in Dallas. A guy who didn't need the ball in his hands, who just ran to his spots, played off Luka Doncic, and made himself useful. Johnson has that same kind of upside, especially if he lands next to a playmaker who can simplify the game for him. His success, at least early on, will come down to how well he can stay within his lane, set screens, roll hard, catch lobs, protect the rim, rebound, and run in transition. What the Lakers are likely doing here is building out their pool of developmental bigs. They've got guys like Colin Castleton, Christian Coloco, and even Traje Mason in the mix, big bodies who are either on two-way contracts or cheap deals, all vying for a chance to become something. Johnson, being a couple years younger than many of those names, adds another layer to that depth. You can sign him to a two-way deal, stash him, let him grow with the South by Lakers, and re-evaluate after a season or two. And again, we're talking about a team that don't currently have a first-round pick, so any potential value found in the second round is a win. If Johnson turns into even a reliable backup by year 2 or 3, that's a steal. And that's the thing, this kid has shown steady improvement throughout his college career. His senior year numbers weren't eye-popping, he averaged around 7.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks per game, but those came in just under 20 minutes a night. That translates well. He be in 15 minutes off the bench in the NBA, and the might realistically give you 6 points, 5 rebounds, and a block per game. Not flashy, but incredibly useful, especially for a Lakers team that has often lacked size and athleticism in the front-court rotation. He also brings championship experience. Is a two-time national champion with UConn, and that matters.
Being around winning, practicing every day in a competitive environment, and learning under a successful system adds maturity that stats don't show. He knows how to play within a structure, how to accept a role, and how to contribute without needing to be the focal point. That's exactly what the Lakers need, especially alongside stars like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Johnson don't need the ball, he just needs to be in the right spots, crash the glass, and defend the rim. That said, other teams are paying attention too. Johnson reportedly also had workouts with the Utah Jazz, Milwaukee Bucks, and Washington Wizards. So this isn't just the Lakers looking at him, there's league with interest. That's usually a sign that scouts see something worth developing. Now the big question is whether he fall all the way to 55. That's a bit of a gamble. If the Lakers really like him, they might need to get creative, maybe buy into the second round earlier than their current slot. Maybe target a team like the Brooklyn Nets, who owed a mid-second round pick, and make a deal. Because a guy like Johnson could very well be gone by the time pick 55 comes around. Even if he is available at 55, drafting him means committing to the long game. You're not getting an instant starter. But what you are getting is a motor, athletic big man who fits the mold of what today's NBA demands from bench bigs. Switchability, rim protection, energy, and someone who's dash ready. There's a reason teams continue to stockpile guys like that. They're cheap, they don't need touches to be effective, and they can swing playoff games when calle the pan. If Johnson develops the right way, he could absolutely be that guy. The Lakers, historically, have found success in these types of moves. We've seen them develop players quietly and turn them into rotation contributors or trade assets. Johnson could be the next name on that list if things go right. And again, this isn't a headline move. This isn't a blockbuster draft they steal. But this is a smart team building. It's the kind of under-the-radar move that championship teams make when they're rethinking 2 or 3 years ahead instead of only worrying about the now. That long-term vision is what separates consistent contenders from the teams that are just chasing headlines. The Lakers have shown over the years that they're not afraid to invest in young talent, even if it don't yield immediate results. With someone like Samson Johnson, what you're getting is a developmental player who already checks a lot of the boxes physically and whose limitations can be addressed through coaching, repetition, and experience. It's not a polished defensive threat, but they don't need to be. That's not the role the Lakers would ask of him, and that's what makes him such an interesting fit. He don't demand touches, don't slow the game down, and don't require a taller defensive system. Instead, he thrives off of doing the dirty work, setting strong screens, boxing out, diving to the rim, hustling for second chance points, and challenging shots in the paint. And while many fans tend to focus on box score stats when evaluating prospects, coaches and front office execs are looking at something deeper. They want to know if a guy understands defensive schemes, if he can switch out on the perimeter for a few seconds, if he can recognize rotations, and whether he communicates on the floor. They want to see how a player reads the game, how fast he reacts, and if he's disciplined enough to execute consistently. Johnson has shown glimpses of that during his college career. His instincts as a shot blocker are real, and does not want to go chasing every block and getting out of position. Estás vertical, times his jumps well, and most importantly, don't foul a ton. That kind of discipline is rare in young bigs, especially those with his level of athleticism. There is also something to be said about his growth from year to year at UConn. He didn't start as a top recruit or a college star, but he earned his minutes, carved out a role, and expanded it each season. That progression is encouraging because it shows he's coachable and puts in the work. His playing team went up each year, and so did his impact. Even though his per-game numbers were modest, they came in limited minutes and within a system where he wasn't the focal point. And yet, every time he was on the floor, he made something happen, whether it was a crucial block, an offensive rebound, or simply running the floor and forcing the defense to react. Those are the kind of plays that don't always make the highlight reel but win games. And for a Lakers team that's been desperate at times for energy, size, and physicality of the bench, Johnson could be a breath of fresh air. Think about the Lakers' struggles whenever Anthony Davis sits. The drop-off in rim protection and interior presence has been an issue, and the backup center spot has often felt like a revolving door. Bringing in a guy like Johnson isn't about solving that problem overnight, but it's about building a foundation to eventually stabilize it. He might not be ready to log 20+ minutes a night right away, but in short bursts, in controlled situations, he can give you quality minutes. And it's not like he would be walking into a team with no support. The Lakers have a strong player development system and a coaching staff that has worked with young bigs before. There is also the benefit of practicing every day with and against league-level talent. Imagine Johnson going up against Anthony Davis in training camp, learning from one of the best defenders in the game. That kind of experience is priceless. He don't have to be a star. He just has to be a sponge, absorb everything, and keep improving. There is also the financial side of things to consider. With the Lakers already managing a top-heavy salary cap dominated by stars, finding low-cost role players is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Drafting a player like Johnson late in the second round, signing him to a rookie deal or even a two-way contract, gives the Lakers flexibility. You get a young, moldable talent on a cheap deal who can be brought along at your own pace. That kind of roster construction is vital when trying to stay competitive in a loaded Western Conference, especially with the inevitable injuries and the grind of the regular season. And for Johnson himself, this could be the perfect scenario. Joining a team with championship expectations, proven leadership, and a clear development pathway allows him to focus entirely on improving his game. He won't be asked to do too much too soon. He can grow without the pressure of having to deliver immediately, and if he earns his minutes, they will come organically. That's how you set up a young player for success, by creating an environment that fosters patience and purpose. Of course, nothing is guaranteed in the NBA, especially when you're a second-round pick. The margins are razor thin, and the competition is fierce. But if Johnson takes the right approach, understands his lane, and maximizes his opportunities, he could absolutely carve out a place in this league. Again, the comparison with Derek Lively in Dallas is worth repeating. Lively wasn't thrown into the fire. He was given a simple role, played next to a generational passer in Luka Doncic, and executed. As a result, he thrived. That's what Johnson needs. He needs to be in an ecosystem where his strengths are amplified and his weaknesses are protected. And if the Lakers can offer that, this could be a steal in the making. There are always going to be questions. Can he add more strengths? Can he develop a mid-range jumper or even stretch the floor down the line? Can he stay healthy and handle the physicality of the NBA schedule? These are all fair concerns. But they are not deal breakers at this stage. They are development checkpoints. And if he continues the same upward trajectory he had in college, there is every reason to believe he will reach a respectable level as a rotational big. It's also interesting that he's already getting looks from other teams like the Jazz, Bucks, and Wizards. That tells you the interest is real. This isn't just the Lakers doing their due diligence. Multiple teams are seeing the same raw tools and imagining how it could fit their system. That league with the Basman's Johnson could be gone before pick 55. So the Lakers will need to make a decision, what and up falls to them, or get aggressive and try to move up a few spots. Maybe they target a team with multiple second-round picks and make a small move. It's not unprecedented. We've seen the Lakers buy into the second round before when they believe in a prospect. At the end of the day, drafting Samson Johnson wouldn't be about making waves. It would be about stacking assets, investing in physical upside, and trusting your development pipeline. It's a quiet, calculated move. But sometimes, those are the ones that end up making all the difference. Because in today's NBA, having a reliable, switchable big man who plays hard, understands his role, and don't cost you $10 million a year. That's gold. And if the Lakers play this right, they might just have found the next under-the-radar gem to build around. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. In what could be one of the most intriguing moves of the NBA offseason, rumors are swirling that Sam CASSELL might be on the verge of becoming the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. While no official announcement has been made, multiple sources close to the situation have hinted that CASSELL is being seriously considered for the prestigious role, adding fuel to an already electric atmosphere surrounding the Lakers' future. CASSELL, a respected veteran in the basketball community, has long been seen as a top candidate for a head coaching position. His extensive experience as an assistant coach with teams like the Washington Wizards, Los Angeles Clippers, and, most recently, the Boston Celtics, has only strengthened his reputation as a basketball mind capable of leading a team to success. Known for his leadership skills, deep understanding of the game, and ability to connect with players, CASSELL seems like a natural fit for a Lakers franchise eager to return to championship contention. The Lakers, coming off a disappointing playoff run, are reportedly exploring all options to revamp their coaching staff and reshape their team dynamics. With LeBron James still performing at an elite level and Anthony Davis anchoring the defense, the addition of a coach like CASSELL could inject fresh ideas and a new sense of urgency. Insiders suggest that the Lakers' front office has been impressed with CASSELL's approach to player development and his knack for improving team chemistry, two qualities the Lakers sorely need. Of course, hiring CASSELL would also carry an element of risk, given that he has yet to hold a head coaching position in the NBA. However, that hasn't stopped franchises in the past from taking similar leaps of faith with assistant coaches who later blossomed into successful leaders. The Lakers, with their history of making bold moves, might see this as the perfect opportunity to shake things up and stay ahead of the competitive Western Conference. While fans and analysts alike continue to speculate, only time will tell if these whispers will materialize into a groundbreaking appointment. For now, the possibility of Sam CASSELL patrolling the sidelines at Crypto.com Arena remains just that, a possibility, but one that's gaining momentum with each passing day. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.